It was a cold January day, the kind where the air bites at your skin and the world feels eerily quiet beneath a blanket of snow. In the small town, everything seemed ordinary on the surface, but beneath that calm exterior, something unthinkable was about to come to light. The truth finally surfaced, a confession so casual, so devoid of emotion, that it sent chills through everyone who heard it. Whispers spread quickly, and the community was left reeling, struggling to comprehend the horror that had unfolded among them. When investigators asked why they killed their supposed best friend, the answer was brutally simple and shockingly cold. We just didn't like her anymore. There was no remorse, no hesitation, just a stark admission that left even seasoned detectives speechless. Skylar Neese, just 16 years old, was murdered not by a stranger lurking in the dark, but by the very girls she trusted most, her best friends. They laughed together, shared secrets, and made memories, all while hiding a deadly secret. The betrayal was unimaginable, a horror that grew quietly within her trusted circle, festering beneath the surface of everyday life. It was a reminder that sometimes the greatest dangers come from those we let closest to our hearts. This wasn't a story of monsters hiding in the shadows, but of friendship twisted into something deadly. The line between loyalty and betrayal blurred until it vanished completely. In a stark police interrogation room, one of the teenage girls finally broke down. Her voice was steady as she revealed a plan that was cold, calculated, and premeditated, a plan that had been set in motion long before anyone suspected a thing. The very friends who had helped search for Skylar, who handed out missing person flyers and comforted her grieving parents, were the same ones who had plotted her demise. Their tears and concern were nothing but a mask. This case forces us to question how well we truly know those closest to us. How can we ever be sure of what lies behind a friendly smile or a comforting embrace? The smiling photos, the happy moments, and the laughter all hid a darkness that would ultimately shatter not just a family, but an entire community, leaving behind questions that may never be fully answered. In Star City, West Virginia, Skylar Neese was a bright, loyal 16-year-old, adored by her parents and known for her unwavering friendship. Her closest friends were Shelia Eddy, the charismatic leader, and Rachel Schoaf, the quieter newcomer. Together they seemed inseparable, navigating high school and sharing every secret, or so it appeared. But beneath the surface, jealousy and resentment simmered. The trio's bond was cracking under the pressures of adolescence, secrets, and shifting alliances. Skylar's honesty blinded her to the growing toxicity in her circle. To her parents, Shelia and Rachel were like family, always present, always trusted. No one suspected the darkness brewing behind their smiles. The closeness that defined their friendship masked a conspiracy. No one imagined two of these girls would soon destroy everything. For Skylar, Shelia, and Rachel, social media was both a diary and a battleground. Tensions surfaced in cryptic tweets and passive-aggressive posts, hinting at secrets and betrayals. Skylar's tweet about a hidden truth set off a chain reaction. For Shelia and Rachel, the threat of exposure felt catastrophic. Their anger grew in private, transforming Skylar from a friend into a perceived threat. The digital drama escalated into real-world danger. A single tweet became the spark that turned resentment into a deadly plan. On July 5, 2012, 16-year-old Skylar Neese quietly slipped out of her bedroom window, careful not to wake her parents. It was a warm summer night in Star City, West Virginia, and the world outside seemed peaceful, almost inviting. For Skylar, sneaking out was nothing new. She'd done it before, always trusting that her friends would keep her safe. She thought she was heading out for a harmless late-night adventure with her best friends, Shelia and Rachel. The three girls had shared secrets, laughter, and countless memories. To Skylar, this was just another night of teenage rebellion, a chance to escape the monotony of small-town life. But this time, Skylar left her phone behind, a small, seemingly innocent detail that would later haunt investigators and devastate her family. Without her phone, there would be no calls for help, no way to track her movements, and no digital breadcrumbs to follow. Shelia and Rachel picked her up in a silver sedan, and together they drove across state lines, leaving the safety of their neighborhood behind. The car's headlights cut through the darkness as they made their way to a remote, wooded area in Pennsylvania, a place chosen for its isolation. Hidden in the trunk were knives, their cold steel glinting in the faint light. These were not the tools of friendship, but of betrayal. Alongside the knives were bottles of bleach, rolls of paper towels, and a shovel, items chillingly out of place for a midnight drive. Every detail had been planned, every item chosen for a purpose. Skylar had no idea she was being lured into a trap by the very people she trusted most. She believed she was safe, surrounded by friends, unaware of the darkness that had taken root in their hearts. Under the cover of the night sky, the girls laughed and talked, pretending it was just another hangout. The air was thick with tension, but Skylar didn't notice. She was too busy enjoying the moment, oblivious to the danger that was closing in. Then, on a prearranged signal, Shelia and Rachel turned on Skylar. They counted to 3, their voices cold and determined, before launching their brutal attack. The woods echoed with Skylar's screams as she fought desperately for her life. Injured and terrified, Skylar tried to escape, stumbling through the darkness. Her last word, uttered in disbelief and heartbreak, was a desperate "why?", a question that would haunt everyone who heard her story. The attack was over in minutes, but its impact would last a lifetime. The silence that followed was heavy, broken only by the sound of the girls catching their breath. Unable to dig a grave in the hard ground, Shelia and Rachel covered Skylar's body with rocks and branches, hoping to hide their crime. The forest floor became her final resting place, concealed beneath a makeshift shroud. As dawn approached, the girls cleaned themselves up, disposed of evidence, and drove home in silence. They returned to their lives, acting as if nothing had happened, masking their guilt behind practiced smiles. The friends Skylar trusted most had left her alone in the woods, her life stolen in an act of unimaginable betrayal. The darkness of that night would cast a long shadow over everyone who knew her. The next morning, Skylar's parents discovered her empty room and immediately sensed something was wrong. Her phone and glasses were left behind. She hadn't run away. Dave Neese launched a relentless search, plastering flyers and following every lead. Police initially treated it as a runaway case, frustrating her family. Shelia played the grieving friend, comforting the Neeses, and even helping hand out flyers, all while hiding her guilt. Dave's determination kept Skylar's story alive in the community. A key break came from security footage showing Skylar getting into a car that night. It proved she left with someone she trusted. The evidence confirmed what her parents feared. Skylar hadn't left on her own. She was betrayed by those closest to her. For 6 months, Shelia and Rachel maintained their facade, attending school and pretending to mourn. But the weight of their secret began to break Rachel. She suffered a mental breakdown and was hospitalized. Away from Shelia's influence, Rachel's guilt overwhelmed her. On January 3, 2013, she confessed everything to police, detailing the plan, the motive, and the location of Skylar's body. Investigators found Skylar's remains where Rachel said they would be. The search was over, but the horror was just beginning. With Rachel's confession, the focus shifted to Shelia, who continued to deny everything. Police built their case, watching and waiting. On May 1, 2013, Shelia was arrested, her mask finally stripped away. The truth was out, and justice was closing in. Why did they do it? The answer was as senseless as it was chilling. Shelia and Rachel killed Skylar simply because they didn't want to be friends with her anymore. They found her annoying and feared she'd reveal their secret relationship. In their minds, murder was the solution. The plan was deliberate, weeks in the making, with every detail considered. On the night of the attack, they counted to 3 before stabbing their friend. It wasn't a fight gone wrong, it was a cold, calculated execution. The motive was terrifyingly simple: to erase a friend they no longer wanted. With confessions and evidence in hand, justice moved swiftly. The authorities wasted no time in piecing together the tragic events that led to Skylar's untimely death. The courtroom was filled with a palpable sense of urgency and determination to see justice served. Rachel Schoaf pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, receiving 30 years with the possibility of parole after 10. Her admission of guilt was a significant turning point in the case, shedding light on the dark motives behind the crime. Her cooperation was crucial in solving the case. Without her testimony, the full extent of the plot might never have been uncovered. The detectives and prosecutors worked tirelessly, ensuring every detail was meticulously examined. Sheila Eddy, the ringleader, eventually pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and was sentenced to life with mercy, eligible for parole after 15 years. Her role as the mastermind behind the crime was undeniable, and her sentence reflected the gravity of her actions. For the Neese family, the sentences brought legal closure, but not peace. The emotional scars left by Skylar's loss were deep and enduring. They struggled to find a way to move forward without their beloved daughter. They turned their grief into action, advocating for change. Their resilience and determination to honor Skylar's memory became a beacon of hope for others facing similar tragedies. Their efforts led to Skylar's Law in West Virginia, ensuring immediate Amber Alerts for any missing child believed to be in danger. This law was a significant step forward in child protection, aiming to prevent future tragedies. The law was a direct result of their tragedy, designed to protect others. It stands as a testament to the Neese family's strength and their commitment to making a difference. The community began to heal, knowing the killers were behind bars. The sense of justice served brought a measure of comfort, allowing them to start the long process of healing. Justice was served, but the loss remained. The memory of Skylar continued to linger, a poignant reminder of a life cut short. Skylar's legacy would be one of hope and protection for others. Her story, though tragic, inspired a movement that would safeguard countless lives in the future. Skylar Neese's story is a warning about the dangers that can hide within trusted friendships. Her parents transformed their pain into advocacy, ensuring her legacy would save lives. Skylar's Law stands as a tribute to her memory, helping protect other children. A memorial now marks the place where her life was taken, turning tragedy into remembrance. Her story continues to educate and warn, reminding us to look beyond appearances. The conversation about friendship, trust, and online safety is more important than ever. Skylar's light endures, inspiring change and hope. By remembering her, we work toward a world where such tragedy never happens again.